Hey y'all, how y'all doing? How y'all feeling? It's your girl Ebony, also known as High Frequency Seeker. And you already know that this channel wants to help you build knowledge and skills to manifest abundant health, wealth, and happiness into your lives. So, welcome back for part two. Sorry, guys, it took me so long to get back here, but I'm excited to get back here, okay? Um, as part two, I've actually went over a little bit of part one again, which was really interesting for me. but yeah, I don't want to hold us up. Let's get to part two. I really hope I can finish it today. Let me pull up. Okay, how many more minutes we got? We got like an hour. We can finish that today. I do remember the last part where it stopped. It was this young lady getting ready to tell her like personal testimony. So y'all, let's just get into it. I don't really have much to say. Definitely like, comment. I would love to see y'all comments, comment, and subscribe. If you want more.
That's the thing. Manifestation is not always good. It's not always goals. Like that's the thing. Like you said, oh, they said they believe they're gonna win the lottery. Why didn't they win the lottery?
Yeah.
That some
Can I share a personal experience?
Go ahead.
So from the time that I was 8 years old, I started struggling very badly with intrusive thoughts, onset OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. At 8 years old, I was having a hard time sleeping at night because I would have intrusive thoughts that crying. I dealt with those intrusive thoughts probably until 2 or 3 years ago. I would say that I'm God has healed me and I'm continuing to heal from that. But everything in my mind, in my soul, in my will could have believed those thoughts because they were so strong. And so I am saying is that God is sovereign over all of our manifestations and all of the things that take place in our minds and our hearts and our wills. Because I'm a Christian and I love Jesus, my will and my soul is submitted to Jesus ultimately. And it doesn't matter how many intrusive thoughts I get, because he's sovereign, that reality is not going to manifest itself because he has his hand over my life. And I'm sure that you guys have experienced times where you feel like everything inside of you is negative and evil and demonic even, but God has kept you. God has kept you. And so I would say the sovereignty of God
Mm-hmm.
is above our own will and our own emotions. When you're not submitted to Christ, your will can get you in trouble, it can get you hurt. But because I'm submitted to Christ, even my thoughts, even the darkest parts of me are submitted to the sovereign will of God.
I agree with some of the things you said. I get where you're going.
Do I agree? No. In a way, no. And you said you had these thoughts since you was 8. And I don't know if y'all want to go back. She also talks about these intrusive thoughts, and then she went into the room of, you know, like went to a church or something, like went in her room and confessed herself to Jesus, and it all went well. I guess, did it all go away? Did you do this when you were 8? Like, when did this happen? And then, yes, and then you're still having these intrusive thoughts, but is it because you believe in Jesus you're not gonna do these thoughts? Like, um, I feel like it's like it's like she's saying, because I'm with Jesus, I'm not acting on these thoughts, but you've been having them since you were 8 and wasn't you've never acted on them. And who's to say that you ever would have? Like, let's keep going. I just,
Going. I do believe. God, like
Mm-hmm.
final say, but it's not even negative. I'm just perceiving it as that.
Mhm.
So it can really go anyway. Manifestation can go anyway. You
Yeah.
can manifestate your worst nightmares or your biggest dreams.
Yeah. I believe in good and evil, and I believe that God does not want evil to happen. Yeah.
God doesn't want evil to happen. Of course not. I don't think anybody thinks God wants evil to happen. However, being the ultimate power, God knows evil will happen. Like I told y'all in the verse I showed y'all about Genesis, the angel said, "Oh, now they're like us, knowing good and evil." That means it lives here. It's gonna happen regardless. Of course, God doesn't want it to happen, but it happens. So let's keep going.
You cannot find identity in astrology, the Enneagram, Chinese zodiacs, personality test, etc.
Okay, y'all, let me start here because I find this to be so weird that, you know, like, um, when they found Jesus, when Jesus was in the manger and he was born, some astrologers was walking by, right? They're the ones who said, yeah, we seen on the star that a king was born. And they blessed this king and then went on their merry way. Don't say they became Christians. They just said a king was born. So an astrologer is in your doctrine, but you don't believe it. So how was these astrologers able to see this?
Enneagram, Chinese zodiacs, any other personality test, you name it. I picked this prompt because I believe them. I think that it is indicative on human apply to everyone, but it feels distinct enough that it's for you. And then also scientifically, I don't think it makes sense. But yeah, I'll just say that for my opening.
I think that it's it could apply to that could apply to everyone. I think that some people could resonate with astrology and its descriptions, and some people can't. Also, with astrology, I read natal charts, so it's like each placement focuses on at least one aspect or one trait.
Right.
It's not, and then that's up to the interpreter that's reading a chart.
And it's also determines different parts of your life. Okay. It talks about childhood, career, family life, end of life. Like there's so many different even parts to astrology.
Chart to kind of conjoin everything together and create a reading.
Okay.
I would not disagree with you on that. The reason why is because I don't think you are supposed to find your identity in things like that. I mean, the concept of identity in general is elusive because your identity is something that you accrue over time since you're born.
Mm-hmm.
So identity is always changing.
Yeah, and I told y'all, I feel like astrology is more deeper than the tarot because astrology breaks down from the beginning of your life to the end of your life. So astrology is a very uh not I'm gonna say long process, but like it covers your whole life.
And how you consider yourself in conjunction to. As far as astrology, I'm like half in half out. Like I've seen the patterns, right? Like I see pattern recognition, and when I read my chart, it resonates with me personally. Certain things don't resonate, right? So and the reason why I'm also skeptical of it is because I don't know exactly what scientifically like would be proving how science would prove astrology. The only thing I could really postulate would be like the energies that are resonating from the placements of the planet when you're born or whatever. But like that's the only thing I could really think of. As for Enneagram though, I'm really nerdy about Enneagram.
I don't even know
I
what it
think Enneagram is I know I did some research about it. I guess it's has links to esotericism from the past, right? I actually didn't know that before. I was just having fun with it as like a personality typing thing.
Yeah.
And not everybody lives upon a gradient, right? So I don't think that these personality typings can really account for all of the value points that exist upon the gradient of human identity, right? But I do, however, think that you can look at it as a pattern recognition analysis. So, for example, I don't know if you know anything about Enneagram, but I'm a type 4 with a 5 wing. And so type 4 is individualist. They basically say like the basic fear and the basic, motivation. And then the wings are kind of like what you're also like. So I don't know if you've looked into it, but I just think those things are fun. Like they're just fun. Like, oh, let's see if I resonate with this. But I don't know if they're like provable in any scientific sense.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that they're fun and they're interesting to most people because they do appeal to your identity. And so to have something that tells you who you are or why you behave a certain way kind of speaks to that inner need to be validated and affirmed by God, I would say. With astrology specifically, if you guys are familiar with the phenomena of axial precession, have you heard about that? Okay, so basically it's that the Earth spins slowly over time. And so because the Earth spins slowly over time, constellations are vastly in a different placement than they were even 2,000 years ago. So people who say they are in one birth chart, according to a map from 2,000 years ago, would be in a completely different one today. So that's why the science doesn't make sense. Now, the science part that does make sense to me is the appeal to people's need to be affirmed. So people who run these astrology websites and horoscope websites, like even there are mediums that really feel like they're tapped in, and then there are mediums that are scammers. And so I feel like a big portion of the astrological world is a lot of scammers who bank off of the fact that human beings want identity. And so they say things to them that feel distinct, but really are not unique. They say things like, you keep your cool in most environments, but if somebody triggers the activist in you, then you stand up because you fight for justice. Most of us would agree with a statement like that, but if you're reading that in the isolation of your bedroom, you'd be like, wow, this thing gets me. And so I just think that needs to be called out.
I did want to affirm what you were saying about people who really feel like they're doing something. Because again, it goes back to like how feelings are enforced. But I would think that astrology and zodiac are as valid as science, because science is based in the mind. And I don't personally worship my mind. I don't worship science. I try not to worship my identity. But I do think that it's a means and a tool to understanding, and that it is subject to change. And I'm careful.
Or you know what else is I found really good about astrology? Finding your purpose in life. Astrology can really help you find your purpose. I talk to people about their north node, where to follow, where to, what I'm saying, where spirit wants you to focus your energy. Like I'm an Aries, like my north node is in Aries, and north node is like I said, your purpose, where you're trying to go, and Aries is a fire energy. I'm a water energy, born a water energy. So trying to take on traits of an Aries, or moving in an Aries way would be hard for me. But that is a part of my purpose, right? Aries are starters, they're firecrackers. They don't take shit from nobody. You know what I mean? And that's kind of not me. I'm very like mellow and calm. But spirit be telling me all the time. Sorry. It is actually an Aries new moon. Okay. So yeah, like, and spirit has told me, yeah, get on your career, get on your stuff, say what needs to be said, even if I don't want to. But that is a part of my purpose. And I found that through astrology.
Careful with astrology, because there's predictions into the future, and that's when you get into like unseen forces, which isn't always bad. Like there are unseen forces that are believers, but a lot of them are not. They're not in our best interest, right? Like think about angels, for instance. So my thing is just like, for instance, Yusuf or Joseph, he had a dream. He saw 11 stars, the sun, the moon, the sky. Like these are valid tools that have been used throughout time to be able to not only see where we're at now, but where we're going. And we just have to be careful with grounding grounding ourselves again in the exoteric as well as the esoteric, because people have lost their minds.
Yeah. Yeah.
With that type of stuff.
So you talked about hermeneutics a bit in the last, and so when you apply a proper hermeneutic to Joseph and his dreams, you would see that he has a
Doesn't
prophetic
everybody
gift.
have dreams?
It's not immediate
Why
coming up
y'all
with
make
these
it
dreams
seem
or
like
visions
nobody else
themselves.
can
They're
talk?
dreams that
Like
the Lord
God
is
can't
giving
talk
him
to
for the
anybody
Lord's.
else in their dreams. That's why they're telling this story. So y'all would know when Jesus comes to you in your dreams or God comes to you in your dreams, you won't be afraid. You will know this is how it goes. But okay.
Of Israel to Egypt. So I just want to be careful. What I want to be careful with is using too much Bible when we're not actually interpreting it in the way that the writers of the book
I'll use
meant
the
for
Quran.
us.
Yeah, and the Quran. And in many of the texts, if not all of them, in every single spirituality lore, there's nirvana, which also means nirvana, the light of annihilation. When you lose your ego, yourself, right? Like nirvana literally means light of fana or light of annihilation. But like the point is that they're not, like, things are not in isolated boxes. That's what the Enlightenment era would have us think. It wants to canonize religion. It wants to canonize the truth, because religion is not really a thing. It's more something created for the truth. And like it wants to make it just one time. But the reality is these people were sent at all times, and if they're among us today, they're friends.
Yeah, and the Bible speaks very specifically about divination. That's not something that happened post-Enlightenment. That happened 2,000 plus years ago.
But the worship of reason, that's what it advocated for.
No, the Bible does not advocate for the worship of reason. Maybe man advocates for the worship of reason. The Bible advocates for the worship of God. And it actually tells us to submit our own reason, right? Proverbs 3:5, lean not on your own understanding, but on every word that proceeded from the mouth of God. So it actually tells us to submit our own will. And
Proverbs is in the Old Testament, not in the New. And that's another thing I don't like sometimes about these conversations. Yeah, Jesus said he didn't erase what the Old Testament had, but in a way, he's erasing what the Old Testament has. So sometimes we're having these conversations and we're bringing up things from the Old Testament. Like, lean not on your own understanding. How am I not going to lean on my own understanding? That's how you get taken advantage of. Like, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why they do that.
and our own reasoning tries to posture the human as God. It tries to posture our will and our emotions and our desires and our man up too. You talked about the Enneagram, Ace, and you talked about demonology. There is demonology associated with the Enneagram and with astrology. Actually, with the Enneagram, the guy who brought the Enneagram into modern existence got the 8 types through automatic writing. So through spiritual trance-like state writing, not being there fully consciously. With astrology goes back to 3 BCE Mesopotamia, Babylonian Empire, and they believed in demons that roamed between heaven and hell. Okay, also Greek astrology and mythology. There's demonology there.
When you think about so these demons ain't never went nowhere. They ain't never stopped coming. They tested Jesus, and then he's still testing us today. Okay.
Hinduism, which New Ageism appropriates much of in gods just within Hinduism. Specifically, there are 2 planetary nodes that rule astrology and Hinduism. Their names are Rahu and Ketu, I believe. And they represent things like insatiable desire and wastefulness and impulsivity.
Yes, because that part of us still exists. Like, I'm a Scorpio. That's considered dark energy. We deal with the unseen and the unknown. Now, growing up, you're like, I don't know, like, being scared of the darkness, but we can't be scared of the darkness. We have to overcome the darkness. And when you have God, there's nothing that you can ever be afraid of. Like, I be feeling like Christians be putting, oh my God, there's demons over there. Well, when you believe in God, baby, demons can't do nothing. Like even when y'all think about Job, like even when she said like, oh, God is one people, but God let the devil test Job and put him in terrible situations that he overcame. You know why? I believe in God. It don't matter what happened. Jesus put his faith in God, the Father, and died. Like to be and then I don't know. I don't even even in the beginning of Christianity, these people died for this religion. You think she's gonna die for this? How many Christians out here really ready to die for this? There's demons associated with y'all practice. Y'all, I am heavily into like studying Mormonism right now. And I know y'all be like, oh, well, Mormon said that they weren't really Christian.
And I bring up demonology because
that stuff came right out of there. They are playing these women. Like, sorry, I be wanting to say a lot, but I just be wanting it all to make sense. You know what I'm saying? I be doing my research too. So trying to explain all of this at one time be kind of hard. But also too, like I said, I'm surprised nobody brought up the astrologers that showed up when Jesus was born. They literally showed up. Y'all do. Mm-hmm.
a lot of the times when we're talking with Christians or when I've been in spaces like this, it's like,
exactly.
oh, Christians always want to talk about the devil. The Christians are always bringing the demons up. Like, who says the devil is bad? Why bring this up to say something that is demonic is not like a Christian bigoted thing. It's actually our dark spiritual forces. There are demons in this world. There are demons that hate Jesus and tremble at his name, and this has been recorded throughout history. And so I would just say, like,
and that's
be careful
funny
with
you
this stuff.
rebuke that.
I feel like you're using the word New Ageism as like another term, like Christianity or Catholicism, and I feel like you're grouping New Ageism as like a new religion. It's not.
All go through the
New
same
Ageism
thing.
is just a term to describe personal spirituality that all of us have. Spirituality is just a personal relationship with what we call, with what you call God, right? It's all the same God.
How?
I'm telling you, it's one thing. We're all one thing.
No way.
I rebuke that. Actually,
And
okay.
then just like
so
we're all
let
one.
me
I'm so different than you.
let me address your claim. So no,
why preach to the Gentiles? Why? Why come to me? Why even preach to them if I'm so different than you? And then, y'all, after Jesus died, some of the disciples go to these Gentiles and they're already praising God. And it's a Bible verse that says God shows no favor because these were Gentile people who didn't believe in the same thing they believed in, but they could see God in them. Wow, okay. Just like I said with the astrologers, they ain't Christians. They wasn't them, but they could see what was going on with y'all. Just like y'all could see what's going on with us. Like, but let's see what else she got to say. Over other people. Okay, whatever.
So no, I know that New Ageism is not a new religion. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying that as an umbrella term to define people who practice spirituality. It's hard to nail down New Ageism because you guys don't have like a core foundational belief in the same way that Christians do, right? But there are some similarities. There's things like believing that creation is God. There's things like believing you yourself are God. There's things like putting your mind ageism congruent and why I address it the way I do.
Why do y'all?
true dreams.
Why do
Of course, anyone
Christians
can have a
think
true
that other
dream, right?
It's like
cultures
the prophets. I mean, so what?
or
Where do you draw
people
the line?
didn't
Like, if that's what
have
prophet
their
already
own
prophesies,
spiritual
anybody can
practice
prophesize.
So I would say that
before
based
y'all
on what the
came
person is
along?
the prince of the air.
Like,
So I believe that Satan can also give people certain gifts,
and
but he
people are
uses
just
them to will
supposed to
evil.
give them
Aligned with
away
astrology
because
and enneagrams and all these other things that are aligned with
Christians in America, like,
demonology, as we just talked about, the demonic figure are back.
Yes.
Find identity in astrology, the enneagram, or Chinese zodiac.
Yeah, and I would honestly agree with that. You're not supposed to find your identity in like a system. I just, for me personally, like that's not what I would do. But I will say, if you're looking for it, you're gonna find it. Eastern astrology, Vedic astrology. There's so many different kinds of God, like the source, spirit, whatever you want to say, as infinite.
I'm sorry. They keep talking. Y'all, don't we live in America?
And we live in this
Like,
solar
do
system.
y'all
But there's
ever
more to
think
that. And I
about
will never limit
why we have
myself or
freedom
my
of religion?
identity from, well, I would say I'm a
Is
Sagittarius, you know, I'm outgoing, you know, like all that stuff tracks, but so do everything else like tracks in
God,
society. I'm not saying that
Jesus
there's not a
said,
science or anything to that because there
like,
is. They've done it smart or intelligent
there's
as a
going to
spiritual
be,
person to
in
just derive your
according to
identity
the
onto something
Christian
that somebody
tradition,
else is
in the
telling you
last
about
days,
yourself.
there's going to
And
be
you
an
have to
antichrist.
intuit with yourself
There's
and
going
learn
to be
about
a
yourself. You
man
ask
who's
yourself. That's
so
Advantage of human nature, so the things that we all have in common.
charismatic
And
that
then two, I
people
would
start following him, thinking he's the new Jesus, and then he's gonna like flip on you, and he's really not for you. That's demonic. Like, dang, like somebody's gonna even trick you in your own religion. Like, that's crazy. Like, who sits around, because you literally have to sit around and wait to get tricked. And guess what? You better hope you're not the one that's tricked. What else? Oh, sorry. To They say this too in other videos. They said this too. Like, I'm sorry you had that experience with Christianity. Don't blame the don't blame God. Like, it was that person's fault, right? But slavery and how they twisted that and did whatever they wanted to do with that is a problem for me. And if you don't want to call it demonic, I don't know what you call it. I don't know what you call it. And they were getting and this is another reason I talk about how, like, using the Old Testament versus the New Testament. Jesus did, say slaves follow your slave masters, but their core doctrine of slavery came out of the Old Testament. Because if you're really looking at the New Testament when it comes to slavery, you wouldn't be doing it. Like, how are you? Sorry, I'm trying to put my words in it because it's a lot going on in my head, especially about the founding fathers. Like, do y'all not realize we live in America? We live in the United States of America, where everybody's beliefs is supposed to be welcome. So how do you be like, oh yeah, I live in the United States, everybody's welcome, but you gotta really be a Christian, uh or you're following demonic things? It makes no sense. How do we all live in? And think about it. We've been living in the United States for a very long time, where everybody having their own religion, right? These people from Europe was escaping. They were escaping religious persecution over what I told y'all the main things was about. Is it faith without works or works without faith? They were killing people because of that. Over y'all own doctrine. Own doctrine. Let's break that down. I'm a sun Scorpio. I'm a Leo moon, and I am a Pisces rising. When I figured all that out, I was like, hmm. Because I definitely had the heart. The moon sign is your heart. I definitely had a heart of a lion. Like I want to, uh, shine. Like Leo's really like the sun. Okay, like I really want to shine, right? But then my Scorpio sun, most people see me as, I mean, I'm already dark, but people see me as dark, quiet, mysterious. These are things that I already were, and I know that. And you know why I know that too? Which made me even really like astrology a little more was when I realized my rising sign was just Pisces. Jesus was a Pisces.
And so that's why so many people who are under the same zodiac
The Bible was
act
written
the
in
same
the
way or behave the
Pisces
same way.
age.
To act like a Sagittarius
Pisces
acts or
is
anything,
the
you're gonna be
first
like, that's just so
zodiac
complex
sign,
and like
the
I
grandest
just wet
zodiac
myself to
sign,
it.
the most spiritual zodiac sign, which I love spirituality. I love the unseen. I love things, not, I mean, in the dark and in the light, but like mysterious. Like, I'm gonna give y'all an example. Like, I didn't understand, like, I grew up in church. I didn't even understand why I liked church so much. I thought I was weird for liking church, but I like church because I've always understood God. I've always felt God. And everybody's not like that. Everybody doesn't have spiritual placements. So they're not gonna, not saying feel connected to God, but they're not gonna, their earthly mission may be a little bit, well, earthly, building here for other people that come after us. That's why I said astrology really helps with purpose, especially for me. I mean, if I taught anybody else astrology or I talk anything about astrology, it's really about purpose. You know what I mean? And God can send you messages, right? You may not even understand it at the moment, but with you living life, getting, seeing this, seeing that, you put them together and pray about it more. And until your clarity comes, until your confirmation comes, and then you're like, oh, that's where I'm supposed to go. That's what I'm supposed to do. So finding your identity, well, I feel like too, once I found spirituality, I was able to express it more because it felt more like me. Spirituality feels like me. And I grew up around a lot of different religions. Like, mm, me and my boo was just talking about this not too long ago. My sister, she went to a Catholic school where she was the only black girl. So I'm like, Catholics, can we go over here? Um, we was regular Christians. I know Jehovah Witness people. Um, who else have I known? But yeah, and then just growing up around different cultures, knowing they practice different things, and they could be the sweetest people in the world. Like, I just don't understand. But okay. Mm-hmm. Just yeah. Even even it at once all of that is done with Joseph, he even says, "What y'all made bad, God turned good." He literally says it at the end of that story. Like, yeah, what? Because now his family's like, "Oh my God, they feel bad, they feel guilty, you know." But he's like, "Don't worry about it." You know what I mean? What y'all intended to be bad, God made good. And that man had to go through the darkness to see his light. Sometimes you have to go through the darkness to eat. Not sometimes. A lot of times you gotta go through the darkness to see the light. And that is a perfect story. And that man did nothing. His brother sold him off. He found him a way in another area, became known in that other area, and then had to help his people. So, I mean,
free will. Like no, everybody just in between worlds. I don't like astrology. I don't like zodiacs, but I like the anagram. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
I
I would say for spiritual people, that's a bit hard though when there's spiritual realities associated with the things that you're practicing.
I like
That seems
experiential. Like everybody has their own stuff, but my thing is
that's
like in dark times like
everybody,
we are in right
girl.
now, able to provide their own light. So we have to be able to start providing our own light. We cannot just to the text and just keep it like in that box anymore because there is how long it took for Joseph to actually actualize who it's here. But we look at these patterns again, the pattern recognition, the histories repeating themselves to really go deeper, not just in the text, but
Just because somebody doesn't practice Christianity anymore doesn't mean they don't know the doctrine.
within our own selves, our own lives. So I would encourage you to pay attention to your dreams, to write down your dreams, maybe even, but that's my line. Like that's me.
Yeah, I don't in
So is
actualization or the
Christianity.
prophecy timing. So yeah, that's all I have to say
Hmm.
about that.
I have one more thing to say before our time is up. The God that you speak of is the same God that I speak of, and then you told me that you rebuked that.
Yeah.
I personally have an issue with how
Christianity isn't a Western religion. It originated in the
Abrahamic
Middle
religions,
East.
whatever.
Okay, don't call it Western.
Okay, my bad.
Go ahead.
Anyways, you guys tend to invite the idea of separation, that we are separate, that nature is separate from God. I don't subscribe to separation because separation from God. Sin means without. So sin is without God, right? So when you're saying that
Sin means to miss the mark. That is the Christian worldview.
that's
Western
from your definition. But the idea that you think that we're speaking about something different just baffles me because
Okay. when y'all read the story
in
of
my
Genesis,
perspective, we're all,
right? Like it's like,
but
how did they get the
I
story
think
of
that
Genesis, right? It would have had
religions
to come
create so much like, oh, if you're not
from
on the in group,
Moses,
you're on the out group and you're going to hell.
because
And I
Moses
think
left
that
Egypt.
separation is
Moses
equal people
started the
through
Bible,
religion.
right?
I think that religion through human corruption, being run
Where
by
did
humans,
Moses
and
get this
hungering
story
thing
from?
for
Because
control.
Moses grew up in
So
Egypt.
God and nature is
And when
demonic.
you
When I
look
said something was demonic throughout the history of astrology
the
and zodiacs and New Ageism and
story
Hinduism,
of
etc. So it's not a person.
how Egyptians started, it kind of matches the same thing with Adam and Eve.
Personal
So
belief. It's that you can observe even within.
yeah,
You
and I
can say that that's
mean,
demonic. That's the reason that we're all disconnected. If you're familiar
I'm
with,
not trying. I
and
don't want to
he
put my own
introduced actually a
biases in
false
there, but
light,
then
this false
again,
sense
I
of
just feel like the
enlightenment,
story of
this
Adam and
false,
Eve
and that
is
is what has
man-made.
separated us. And there's only one thing that unifies us, and that's Jesus.
And the man wrote it. I'm not even gonna go there. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because they don't want to. How do you know that? No, it doesn't say that. Y'all say that. That's why I'm like, y'all act like the Israelites was a small community in a bigger pool of people.
Jesus Christ.
I could literally say the same thing about
Like y'all
your
act. That's why I
opinions and
keep.
beliefs.
That's why I
I
be
could
saying
say
all the
that you're
time.
misled
They
and that what
act
you
like they
believe is
left
false, and
Egypt
that
and
that's
the
a false
world
light. Because in my
corrupted.
knowledge
It's just the
of
world
religion, we're
went bad.
talking about different things. Don't
The world
understand
just stopped.
why
The
people
world
who
never
subscribe
stopped when
to
y'all left
organized
Egypt. The
religion
world
and
kept
organized
going.
belief systems, same thing.
And
We're
y'all
all
know
trying
that
to understand
because
and have a connection
y'all
with the
was
same
going through
source
people's
because we all
lives.
come from the same source. My bad. Not demonic, it's evil.
If
It's
anything,
evil.
you
When I say
man,
that
or
we're
whatever
talking
you
about the
want to
same
look at
God,
it,
we're talking
Moses
about
created a
you
new
say
God.
that New Ageism is like misled or following the false light, taking me to the same exact place and peace that you're
Debating a Christian, right? So we have to acknowledge the Christian worldview. And the Christian God,
What did Jesus say?
it says that there is a God that demands to be worshipped in a specific way, and that this God does not want to
Oh,
be
so
aligned with any
now he
Christian.
so God
has
is
God
evil, but
hates
he hates.
sorcery. So I would just
girl.
say,
You know too. Like I've seen them debate uh Orthodox Jews, right? The main reason Jews didn't believe Jesus, like I said, is because he didn't go through the process. He didn't. He was a rebel. People like one like. Hold on, real quick. Hold on. Jesus was a rebel. Why he ain't just do the practices? Why he ain't just go to the synagogue and do it how he was supposed to? Now he did it his own way. And what? Oh, God told him to do it that way.
wrath and love inside of him. He is compassionate, but he
Like, and two,
is evil
y'all
and
have
wicked
to
and broken
realize
and not
as
practice
well,
idolatry.
these
I would say that all of
people
these things
were
fall into the
looking
tenets of
for a warrior. And they break this down too. They say this a lot too. Like, oh, God, Jesus had to come and do his he had to come and do his earthly mission to get us spiritually ready before he comes back. But these people thought that Jesus was coming back within their time. Jesus ain't come back in their time. Like, and two, the way okay, sorry. Let me go back. In my mind, Jesus is gone. Right? Well, okay. I feel like all our spirits live on, right? But in reality, Jesus is dead. But you know their thing is Jesus ain't dead. You know why they say Jesus is not dead? He's alive sitting with God, because if you don't say it that way, then it's idolatry. If Jesus is, because he defeated death, right? That's why he's supposed to come back to us, because he defeated death 2,000 years ago. When he, I mean, in my opinion, he didn't defeat death. He's just like the rest of us. He died and went to heaven, like the rest of us. Y'all want to make it seem, and then it's like, and then it's like, you, they use this loophole of Jesus being alive to still worship him when the man's gone. That's why I take communion, to remember me. Why I need to remember you if you still alive? What's the point? You know why? Because then it would be idolatry.
As we discussed with the demonology.
Jesus didn't teach us to worship Christianity. He taught us to worship the one who created it.
Okay.
So that means that two
Nobody
lefts
disagrees with
two lefts can sometimes make a right.
No.
I have a bridge, I think.
Yes.
I think that Christians have every right to say to spiritual people that that's not my God, that's not what we believe, these are my terms, these are our semantics, it's different, what you're doing is not the same. Just like Hinduism, any other religion has that same right. It's okay that they're different. What's important is the bridges and how we're treating everyone. So if she's saying that, like I would agree with you, like sure, because that's true for you. That's
And I do agree with this young lady right here as well. It's kind of another reason it took me so long to do these videos is because, like, the first video that the young lady did, the first video I seen with New Ages versus Christianities, the lady on the New Age side, she pretty much didn't have nothing to say, because she was like, they're so indoctrinated into what they believe, I can't change their mind. And that's the thing. I'm not trying to change nobody's mind. You can believe in whatever you want to believe. I don't care. I know you don't need none of this. I know all you got to do is talk to God and you going to be straight. Okay? Like, I know that. So sometimes it's like, so it kind of did take me a while to come back and react to these videos, because I'm essentially, I'm not trying to convince her, girl, be a Christian. I don't care. But where is the bridge? What I did have to ask myself, like, what do we want? And that's why I'm like, we already living it. We've been living it. We've been living it. All different people, races, colors, religions, all that, living under, in God we trust. Like, the back of our money says, in God we trust. Are they talking about multiple gods, different gods? Like, I feel like we're already doing it. Like, we already, the Chinese, the people in China, the Mid East, all them in Israel, we all live under the same globe already. Right? So, yeah, it is hard to sometimes just be like, girl, I don't even care. Like, I don't even want to do these reaction videos, because what's the point? I'm not trying to convince nobody or nothing. You know? Like, especially if ain't no war about to happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there really is no point, because I know God is real. You know God is real. If you think we're serving two different gods, then what? So if everybody became a Christian in America, what happens? What's gonna happen? How you think we think we're gonna live in a better place? Which they do think we're gonna live in a better that we would live in a better place. Um, but so I'm not to me. Christianity, it's not even a corruption thing. It's more of a power thing, right? Um, mm, yeah, like it's a lot.
It's true to Christ, and like what you believe and you follow, and what we believe and follow is personal. So it does sound like I can understand how when other people, let's say, appropriate your terms of Christianity or the Bible, I can see how that would be a little frustrating, because spirituality is a very personal thing, and we can syncretize from different religions or ideologies and into it our own way. And sometimes our way of doing that is by using terms that already existed, because that's where the ground.
Well, baby, that's where we come from. Why you think Moses did what he did? He used part of what he got in Egypt and created something new. Jesus, same thing. His just main thing was prophecy. Prophets existed in Egypt. They existed in Egypt. Temples existed in Egypt. Then Moses created y'all that. Priests and stuff was in Egypt. Then he created y'all that. Like, every religion has the same thing. Everything started off the same. So it didn't start with y'all. It started spiritual. It's always gonna. Every Hinduism, whatever, Indians, it all started spiritual. So the spirit comes first.
The groundwork is, or the terms are, that already are there. So.
Wow, Kalia. So you just debated 20 different women on these really interesting topics. I would like now for you to choose one lady here that you would like to speak to one-on-one, and let us know why you're choosing whoever it is that you're choosing.
Okay, I'm choosing this person because it seemed like there may have been some parallel, but there's also, the belief that they have in New Age practice. And so I wanted to get a little bit more clarity about their perspective and also how they distinguish the difference between God and themselves too. And the person I'm choosing is Farron.
Erin, come on down.
So my prompt is, I am the measurement, I am the science, and I am the study. My life is absolutely evidence of my journey. I don't need to study the studies. I don't need to read a book most of the time. Me just living and surrendering. I am the measurement. I'm the study. I'm it. I'm it.
Okay. So would you say that the things you do could be replicated by another person then?
Same actions, the same effect, because they're not me, no. Only Farron can do what Farron does the way Farron does it.
Okay. So would you say that you care for the well-being and fruition of other people's lives?
I do from a human standpoint, but I know that God knows more than I do. So if he's deciding to put you through a lesson, put you through diseases, who am I to interfere with my human? Only God knows what to do with certain consequences and certain journeys. So I just try to stay in my own human journey, my own lane.
Yeah, that makes sense. So in the Christian worldview, Revelation 21:13 says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so there's incredible power in the fact that we have testimonies, we have journeys like you talked about. And so we get to share those journeys with other people in hopes that sets them free. It gives them wisdom and insight about how to live their lives. And so what I would say about your worldview that's a bit confusing is that it's not standardized, right? It's just you get to decide, you're the measure. And so the issue with that is that human beings are flawed. And so
why does everybody need a rule book? She talks about that a lot. It's not standardized. And it's the standard is to talk to God. Find your purpose. What are you here for? Deal with your family. That's standard for everybody.
Your perspective of what something that's right one day could be completely wrong the next day. And it's something that can't be replicated either, which I find a little bit of a moral and ethical conundrum there, because I feel like if you live a good life, you want other people around you to live a good life too. And you want to be able to share some of the wisdom that you've lived so that they can live good lives too.
Ain't that why we have laws? The law tells us not to kill. The law tells us not to steal. Even if I didn't have a religion, I still had the law. I don't know where it is in the Bible, but in Moses' days, they talked about that. And maybe even Jesus' times they talked about that. Like like the law of Moses was different from the law, or the law was different from like spiritual laws or whatever. Like, but the law is the law. Like, don't steal, don't kill, do others as you want them to do it and to you. Like Jesus, what is the greatest law? Treat your neighbor like you want to treat yourself. Like, if you don't want to die, don't kill other people. Like, you don't need a handbook or rule book. Your family teaches you that. Like, you act like people grow up and are only adults. Like, your family teaches you that. Like, what?
I want people to live the life they deserve.
Yeah.
I don't know what people deserve. I don't know what you've done. What are you sowing? What are you reaping? It's not my position as a human living her life to decide. And I hope I don't sound offensive, but I don't care who I confuse. I don't care who my journey confuses. As long as me and God are in tune, I can confuse the masses as long as my soul is in alignment with my journey and the Lord that I serve. So confusion doesn't, we're all confused. We're all flawed. Like you said, we can all miss the mark. God knows these things though. So me missing for a human might not be missing for him because he already knew. Exactly. I need to learn something by making that mistake. I need to learn something by going to that dark room. It's just me trying to stay as human as I can be and not talking as if I am God himself.
Yeah. So God himself tells us to love our neighbors as ourselves. And so I think like the issue, again, with New Age and spirituality in general is like, it becomes this super me-centered thing where it's like, you just said, like, I don't care if I confuse people. I don't care if other people make it. I don't know what they deserve. But in the Christian worldview, it's like, we actually all know what we deserve. We deserve death. We deserve hell. The Bible says, for the wages of sin is death. But the gift of God.
Wow. Who said you deserve? Girl. Dang. You don't deserve to be fruitful and multiply? I thought that was the beginning of it all. So you don't deserve to be fruitful and multiply. Interesting.
God through Jesus Christ is eternal life. And so we all deserve one thing, but because Christ paid the penalty, we get another thing.
And then it's like, well, Jesus came to pay the penalty. What was they doing? What was the point of Moses then? When that time they weren't doing nothing, huh? Like none of that actually worked. Like, huh?
We get life. We get to live life abundantly. But the thing is, as a believer, I'm sharing that view with other people because I don't want other people to perish in their sin. I want other people to come to a knowledge of truth. And so I guess like my question for the New Age is, why don't you guys have that same unction for people to come to a knowledge of truth? If it's all about like love and other people and everybody just doing their own thing because I just want to love on them and I want to love on myself, why is there no unction to usher people into what you believe to be true? Why is there no standardization?
There is, but I can only meet you where you are. That's your perspective.
Yeah.
I'm not here to convince you otherwise. That's your perspective. I believe New Age.
What I just say, I ain't here to convince nobody of nothing. It's called free will. That's what it's called. Jesus started that go out and tell the good news. And I don't even, based off what I've read and that was never his initial plan. He said, I came for the Israels. Then all these other people start coming in because they can see God and everybody sees God. I want healing. So let me go over here and see if this man can heal me. God, I don't know, God, they don't deal with me. God, go over there. He gonna help you. So I gotta have enough faith, enough understanding of God to be like, hey, Jesus, can you help me? Even though, I learned this through them. I didn't know Jesus called some woman a dog. This woman was asking him for help, and he called her a dog. And I'm going to tell y'all this, too. I don't think I've ever said this, but I find Jesus to be very passive-aggressive. That's why Christians act the way they do. But yeah, I find Jesus to be very passive-aggressive. He always answered stuff with a question. It was a question with a question. It was You ask him a question, it was usually a story. You got to think real deep about it. Like, it was never just straight answers. So, when you talk about it being standardized, and sorry, sorry, a lot comes to my mind, y'all, when I be talking about these subjects. But like I said, Israel was looking for a warrior. That's another reason they have Jesus coming back as this warrior who's gonna fight and kill all the bad people because that's who they were looking for. This sweet, docile kind of, not even docile, but just like not really wanting to fight. Like the people was ready for war. We're just like, now we ain't gonna have no war. But he gonna come back and have a war. You see what I'm saying? Like the trickery. But yeah, them people was looking for somebody like David. David is a warrior. Okay, Jesus had to come from the bloodline of David. They wanted prosperity, how they did in David's time.
Age spiritual people believe in many ways to find one answer.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's
One more thing. They always say God is not the author of confusion. I feel like Jesus, the way Jesus popped up was very confusing. That's why he died.
where it differentiates. Christians believe the Christian way will get you the Christian answers, the Christian way. Most of us new age spiritual people believe that you can find answers multiple ways. So knowing that God knows everything and pretty much can connect with us in our different channels, I think most channels are valid as long as you know that you're getting the message from God, which can be through this microphone, your shirt could be having I can find God in your shirt, my shoe, the mic. That's me personally. So I'm not here to convince or deny anybody. I'm just sharing my experience.
Yeah. Okay. I would just say that I think that what separates, not even just from New Age, we've had the privilege of having conversations with Muslims.
And then what did Jesus because you talk about standardized, right? And this came up to me in my past studies. Like I'm not downstairs, so I can't go get my paper that I wrote it on. But Jesus told y'all to heal the sick, right? Heal the sick. Do take out demons. This demon thing, I'm gonna have to look into that more. But he did say cast out demons, right? These are things y'all are supposed to be doing. And hold on, let me go back.
I don't care if I confuse people. I don't care if other people.
Oh, up here about Jesus ain't care about confusing them people. Let's say you up. I don't care about confusing y'all. Because they were confused. They did not know what was going on until the end, until he died. So God is confusing sometimes, and that's okay to say.
People make it, I don't know what they deserve. But in the Christian worldview, it's like we actually all know what we deserve. We deserve death. We deserve hell. The Bible says, for the wages of sin is death. But the gift of God.
To say you deserve death, like
through Jesus Christ is eternal life. And so we all deserve one thing, but because Christ paid the penalty, we get another thing. We get life. We get to live life abundantly. But the thing is, as a believer, I'm sharing that view with other people because I don't want other people to perish in their sin. I want other people to come to a knowledge of truth. And so I guess like my question for the New Age is, why don't you guys have that same unction for people to come to a knowledge of truth? If it's all about like love and other people and everybody just doing their own thing because I just want to love on them and I want to love on myself, why is there...
We do want them to come into the knowledge of truth. But guess what? You Christian people will kill us. Y'all act like spirituality ain't, religion, spirituality, that stuff can be dangerous. People will kill you. That's why I be like, y'all willing to die for this? Y'all, because most of all the disciples died going around telling the story. And like I told you, America was, the people coming from Europe was fleeing religious persecution. They wanted to do what they wanted to do. That's why America has the freedom of religion. So yeah, we would like to, but you know what you're gonna, you know how we're gonna have to run up against Christianity's this people, that person have free will. Also, too, I don't know. Maybe none of these people are parents or something, but when you have multiple kids, you understand every kid don't need the same thing. That's another reason how I look at religion and spirituality. Okay, every kid don't need the same thing. Every kid don't want the same thing. So you have to come up with different plans and tactics for different people, for different things that God made. So yeah, we would love to, but we don't want to die. I'm not even saying I don't want to die for it, but yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to die for it. Y'all feel like God deserves to die. I want to live and be fruitful and multiply.
There's no unction to usher people into what you believe to be true? Why is there no standardization?
There is, but I can only meet you where you are. That's your perspective.
Yeah.
I'm not here to convince you otherwise. This is your perspective. I believe New Age spiritual people believe in many ways to find one answer.
Yeah.
That's where it differentiates. Christians believe the Christian way will get you the Christian answers, the Christian way. Most of us New Age spiritual people believe that you can find answers multiple ways. So knowing that God knows everything and pretty much can connect with us in our different channels, I think most channels are valid as long as you know that you're getting the message from God, which can be through
more channels are frequencies are valid because God had different children who need different things. I like worshiping trees. Worship. I like what? I need my computer. Just wait. I'm almost done. Can you close the door, please? Speaking of children, every child needs something different. Not every child needs something different, but sometimes kids need different things. Everybody don't need the same thing. Everybody don't want to do the same thing. So does that make me wrong? Or I feel like that means I have a better relationship with God to be like, God, listen, this Christian thing not working for me. You know what I mean? I find you when I'm at the beach. I find you when I'm walking. I find you when, how do you know God ain't like, all right, baby, I feel you. You can do that. And when I go, and then I'm out telling other people how I find God, how I connect with God, what they gonna say? Oh no, you're wrong. That's not how that go. That's not how you do that. Like, no, you ain't talking to God. You talking to demons. But I clearly talked to God and told him, God, like, I don't like this. I want to do it like this. Can we do this? God, like, yeah, that's fine. You got it. Like, why do y'all think we don't have a like crazy works?
This microphone, your shirt could be having I can find God in your shirt, my shoe, the mic. That's me personally. So I'm not here to convince or deny anybody. I'm just sharing my experience.
Yeah. Okay. I would just say that I think that what separates, not even just from New Age, we've had the privilege of having conversations with Muslims and Mormons and scientists and atheists, and I think what distinguishes Christianity from all other religions is that desire to help our fellow man. And it's a knowing in the truth, not just the Christian way, but what we believe to be the ultimate truth. And because we believe that without a shadow of a doubt, because I believe without a shadow of a doubt in my bones that Jesus died for me and then he rose again on the third day and that he's coming back again.
Sorry, y'all. I appreciate Jesus dying. I think that's a beautiful quality. I feel like what he did was amazing. I see the guy. I see the beauty. But at the same time, I can bear my own cross. I don't want somebody to die for me just because it feels like you just die for me for you to worship you. Like, I feel like why you ain't just die and didn't want nothing from me? Like, I don't know. That's kind of weird in my book. Like, I would have rather Jesus live. Live. Have children. Be fruitful and multiply. Instead of dying on that cross for my sins that I still have to pay for. When you go to heaven, when you go at the end of the day, you still gonna have to see the judge. Like, no matter what.
Because I believe that and I've truly internalized that, there's nothing more that I could do but go and share with other people the glorious standard.
Those
And the
same people have
glorious
to receive
standard.
you. They have you can't determine if those same people receive you. That's a God thing.
Yeah.
It's not a me.
Right, but we shouldn't
thing.
presume.
Like,
we shouldn't say no for people.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much receive you. They
Girl.
you can't determine.
So what I feel like they're kind of having a conversation of what I'm doing now. Like, free will is a thing. Like, I feel like just how it was in the beginning of Jesus, where people just started following him. He wasn't out here going telling people he was the Messiah, or he was none of that. People just started following him. Well, and I think John the Baptist was kind of like telling people that, like, yeah, here comes Messiah. But yeah, it's called free will. Like,
If those same people receive you, that's a God thing.
Yeah.
It's not a me.
Right, but we shouldn't
thing.
presume.
Like,
we shouldn't say no for people.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much accepting of people because I'm a person.
Yeah.
I don't bash. I don't. No, that's not the right way.
Yeah. But I mean, even
Seems
with
like most Christians do that sometimes, though. Y'all bash, y'all debunk, y'all. No, that's not right. And you're going to hell the whole time. Neither one of you Christians are God himself. And I don't like when Christians speak as if they are actually God. Only God knows what God knows. And I surrender to that.
Yeah.
That's what I surrender to.
Yeah.
Everything else is learning. I'll apply it. I'll learn and grow.
Yeah. I would say withholding what you believe to be true for you is wrong. It's not loving other people, because if you believe something to be true for yourself,
who says we're withholding anything? Like, if somebody asks me what I believe in, I'm gonna tell them. But I'm not just going out here like, oh, I believe this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it. Like, I don't have to do that. And I feel like if Jesus never told y'all to do that, y'all wouldn't be doing that either.
and you've seen the outcomes of it, but you're withholding it because you don't know what this person deserves, or you don't know if they'll receive it. I would argue that that's actually playing God. You're presuming for this person that they're not going to be receptive to whatever you have to offer. Whereas the Christian worldview says, I'm not God, so I'm not going to withhold grace. I can't withhold grace because I'm not God. Instead, I'm going to be forthcoming with it. I will say, like, I get what you're saying about feeling like Christians are constantly bashing people or telling people that what they're doing is wrong. And I would just say, like, lovingly, the Christian is trying to grip people from hell's flame. Jude says some people you snatch, okay, out of the hellfire. There are some people that you can be very kind and loving to, and there are some people that need to straight up hear, hey, you're in idolatry, you're in communion with demons, and you need deliverance, and Jesus loves you, and he's in desperate
Oh my God. Where is it at? Because I just listened. Jesus sins. Just like, oh, you know what? I got it in my phone. I got it on ChatGPT. And my phone about to go dead. Hold on. I hope it's still in here. Oh my God. Come on. I think my phone about to go dead. So I'm going to find it real quick. Jesus sent his disciples to minister. Hold on. Let me just do that. Yeah, I knew my phone was about to go dead. Dang. Hold on, yeah, I gotta find this. Because I literally looked this up. Hold on. Give me the regular Bible. Come on. Hold on. Let me find, because they all every what I'm about to, they all talk about it in each one. Each disciple talks about it. But Jesus, come on. Marriage and divorce, who's the greatest? Defilement comes. Mark. What I'm thinking about is Jesus sends them out. He gives them instructions. Tells them not to go talk to Gentile. Oh, Jesus. Oh, okay, here we go. We're going to do Mark 6. Jesus rejected at Nazareth, sending out the 12, and he called the 12 to himself and began to send them out two by two and gave them power over unclean spirits. He commanded them to take nothing for the journey except a staff, no bag, no bread, no copper in their money belts, but to wear sandals and not to put on two tunics. Also, he said to them, in whatever place you enter a house, stay there till you depart from that place. And will not receive you, whoever will not receive you nor hear you, when you depart from there, shake off the dust under your feet as a testimony against them. Assured, I tell you, it would be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. So they went out and preached for the people should repent, and they cast out many demons and anointed with oil who were sick and healed them. Sorry, it was one more because he came back. Because this is where they come back, and this is where Christians bring up, demons tremble in the midst of his name, but y'all only doing this because he told y'all to do it. No, but I feel like it's another one. Maybe it's not, because it's literally talks about Gentiles. I feel like I'm thinking another verse, but I'm not. I'm not about to keep doing it. Let's move. Let's move.
In desperate
I wanna
pursuit.
finish this.
He's in desperate pursuit of you. So when we say things that are bold like that, it's not because we want to say it. That's actually very hard to say in a world that genuinely hates Christians. The world mocks Christians. No, the world mocks Christians. They mock our Bible. They mock our Jesus. We got gay Jesus superstar. So like to be bold about what right, I know, but I'm just saying to be bold about what the text says is actually a very hard thing. And so to just give you a perspective of a Christian, when we're bold about what the text says, it's actually coming from a place of love and self-denial, because our flesh would rather have us quiet, muzzled, don't say anything that's going to offend anyone, don't set them off, they're going to hate you, they're going to make fun of you, they're going to go make a video about you. So when you see us being bold that way, I know it's hard to perceive as love, but it truly is.
For me, everything is love, because that's how my system is set up to perceive everything. Everything's positive to me. If I can learn from it, it's positive. I'm just not with the God. Like, it's just like, I'm not God. So how can I just be and you? No, I'm not, because I do not know, because I am not God. We all have to surrender our journeys to God. If that looks for you, that's for you. If I decide to look over and say, hey, sis, we walking towards a light, that's my decision. But if I want to focus and let God be God, ain't nothing wrong with that. It can only be me. I can only sometimes handle my own. I'm a human being. I have 2 dead parents, no kids, no siblings, and I'm navigating LA as a dark-skinned woman sent from God. I have to focus on what God promised me and me only. I can't. I don't have the capacity sometimes. So everybody surrender to God and keep going in God's light, whatever that means for you. Because you can feel when it's not God. You can feel it. We all go through things. We all go through sins. We all sin.
I would just say, like, when Christians say things, it's because of scripture. The Bible is our authority, right? So we're not saying it ourselves as God. We're saying it because God has left us.
We're saying it because God told us to say it. Sorry. It just gives off real divine masculines too. Like, it was a prompt one time, and they asked, like, women's roles, and they like, I don't want to be a leader of the church. And it's like, sorry, y'all, I'm going on a tangent. Let me finish this.
Us with the written, inspired text, and so
that was written by man.
That's what we're
40
sharing.
times.
No, not
rewritten by man. New Testament, Old Testament, your human experiences, and it all, in my opinion, is just trying to explain the power of God. That's all. It's human. A human wrote the book. Over and this time in King James version. Can you say confused? Because we're human.
Do you know how translations work for the Bible?
I know how translations work for the soul. I'm not to do that.
So let me
just are you here because that's how God wanted you to receive the way he wanted you to.
So let me just clarify for the audience watching at home too. So we have Greek and Hebrew manuscripts that the Bible is translated over from. So when you have a translation like the King James or the ESV, they're going back to those manuscripts to translate the words. This is why there are things like the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? Where you look at an Isaiah scroll and you look at the book of Isaiah. It doesn't matter.
Girl, what about the Ethiopian Bible? Because the Dead Sea Scrolls match the Ethiopian Bible more than it matches the Western Bible. or a Middle Eastern Bible, like she says, than what we have now. The Dead Sea Scrolls have things the Ethiopian Bible has that y'all took out. But you want to keep bringing up these Dead Sea Scrolls. When the Dead Sea Scrolls matches the Ethiopian Bible more than it matches our Bible.
Matter if it's in the NIV, KJV, ESV, you're going to see 90% accuracy because what was written has been sustained throughout time. We talk about scribes, we talk about creeds. We have people in history like Constantine who have less historical documentation than the Bible does, yet we believe their stories. So when we talk about the Bible, I just want to make it very clear, like the Bible is an archaeological phenomena that most people acknowledge and respect for that reason. So it's not just a piece of paper that was written by...
It's not, but it's also human experience.
And just like one time they were talking to the Jews, and the Jews said they feel like they were hijacked because the Old Testament is nothing but their Bible that they have more to that y'all left out.
Experiences created by humans. It's undeniable.
Human experiences created by humans.
And two, in the Bible, I found, oh God, the people in the stories, they didn't write the stories. When I looked up who actually like put the Bible together, who wrote it, these were like people going to school would write, like, yo, it wasn't like Mark wrote his chapter. Moses ain't write like the Genesis. These things were written way after. Only thing, remember when they had 10 Commandments? That's all they had. They didn't have a book. They had the 10 Commandments, 10 of them. And then they had other laws after that they made along the way. 613 of them. Like,
God did not write the Bible. It is used as a tool to find him.
So it's God inspired. It's God inspired. So God Himself.
I don't know.
Yeah. So
that's why I keep going back to
I don't know. You don't have to know.
Girl, she be talking to me
I'm just saying,
about
if you're gonna make claims, then I just have to clarify. It's God. The text is God inspired, and it was written.
Is it?
Yes, it is. 100%. It's God inspired, God breathed, and it's been sustained. So I would.
God inspired. Y'all wrote a series about Jesus. The whole New Testament is all about Jesus. The Old okay.
Encourage you. Have you read through the Bible? Okay, I would encourage you to.
Quran and other books.
Yes, I would encourage
a person with a Muslim last name, a mother who died Christian, and a father who's Rastafarian. I've actually been intrigued to read many books, and that's why I find the comments.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yes,
this sounds like what this book said.
When you do find out the comments. You do. That's the same thing that happened to me. When you actually delve in, like, what's this? You find the comment. You find God. Like, oh God, you made them. You made them. Like, you literally look at God like, oh, the Rastafarians is your children. The Christians is your children. Israelites is your children. But they all move differently. And that's fine. Because we've been doing it.
Yeah.
Is this similar?
Yeah,
Are we all trying to describe this one God that we're arguing about through many channels?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
It's because the serpent is shiesty.
Yeah,
it's because Satan is deceptive.
It's because humans are receptive and we all receive things differently. That's just
and we receive from Satan.
No, we don't all receive. We all received it the same. That's why it all connects. Y'all put so much. I would swear y'all be giving the devil the energy, like oh God, Satan is he powerful. Not more than God. Not more than God, girl.
Did God make Satan too? According to the Bible, God made him too, right?
Yeah, He did.
Okay.
He created Lucifer.
Okay.
Yes.
So it could be human.
Yes. So
to follow
Lucifer
Satan too.
Yeah, it could be human to follow Lucifer, but is that the right
God
thing to do?
I don't know because I'm not God.
Right. Okay. So
I don't
that's
know.
that's the issue with the New Age. Everything is
not an issue.
Everything is I don't know. There's no standard. There's no helping people cross the bridge to get into light, and it's also very like self-consumed. Like,
I disagree.
Even the life that you
where is it at? Because since I got it pulled up, I love this. Oh, hold on. Jesus, what is the greatest commandment? It says love thy neighbor. Love God with all your heart. And love thy neighbor. Hold on. Where's it at? The greatest commandments. Hold on. Who is the greatest? At the time the disciples came to Jesus saying, who then is greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Jesus called a little child to him, sent him in the midst of them, and said, assuredly I say to you, unless you are converted and become as a little child, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever humbles himself as this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Whoever receives one little child like this in my name's sake receives him. But whoever causes one of these little ones believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to. Sorry, I just got this weird version, but and if. But yeah, that is Matthew 18. It's another one in here. Just for God, just treat people how you want to be treated. Okay. It's the greatest commandment.
You describe yourself having here in LA, it's self-consumed, it's alone, there's no community, there's no standardization.
When you're walking in alignment, you'll find like minds. When you're walking the way God directs you,
that you do life alone.
I said I have to focus on what God promised me. But in that journey, I also said if I decide to look over and say, hey, we walk on this journey together, it's my decision. It's balance. Sometimes you can focus on yourself, and then there's other times to share the message. But sometimes you got to receive the blessing to even connect with some people. I have to keep walking so that what I'm saying can physically make sense for some people. So again, I'm not God. I'm just here to walk my journey, and I feel like I'm listening to God every step of the way. And when I get to a safe place like this, I can share, you know, how I think. But when I'm out in the world, I'm in these Hollywood rooms, and I know how intricate it can get.
Like a protective mechanism.
It's God, mouth closed, studying. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. It's just me and God in certain rooms. So I don't know what other people hear. I just know what I hear.
My wrap-up thought, there's a lot said. I would just say that, man, God desires for us to, one, have clarity about who he is, what he wants for us. And so he allows us to exist within community, with a holy scripture, with a text, with other people filled with the Holy Spirit that can help to guide our path. And that's what you see with most Christians when they are being emboldened and they are sharing truths, because they want other people to come alongside the objective truth, the real truth. They want people to be saved. They want people to know Jesus Christ, the Lord of our souls. And I would say that New Age in a lot of ways to me sounds lonely, it sounds detached, and it sounds confusing just because there's no one way. It's inconclusive, it's inconsistent, and it's immeasurable. And so I think what sets it apart from something like organized religion, which, so just so everybody knows, James 1:26 and 1:26 through 27 says true religion is this, to take care of the widow and the orphan. So for everybody who has an anti-religious in their heart, listen, I'm religious because I care for the widow and the orphan, and I love Jesus Christ. So I would just,
what widows you out here taking care of? Huh? Girl, didn't get off of here. Stop talking and go take girl. Stop. Sorry. That's the Aries. That's the Aries energy. And I don't even like. The guy is like. Sorry, I'm just thinking about my girl Nikki and I. Like, sometimes I like to tussle. I don't really like to tussle. I'm not a real confrontation. Yes, I can be in confrontation, but I don't like it. It's not a thing. Like, I don't really like it, but that's the way of this world. I was given this world. I didn't make it. Like,
just say, like, that's the measure. Jesus is the measure, truly. I'm not the measure. You're not the measure. Jesus is the metric by which we live. And because of his blood, we're able to be in alignment with him and share that truth with other people.
Looking to that, I'm going to walk away I'm walking away with my same beliefs. I'm going to continue to walk on my path. In my opinion, I am the measurement. I am the experience. I am the study. If I decide to write my experiences down for somebody else to study, they can reference my studies in another debate. We all are a study. We all are walking science. You are the measurement. I can't measure a blessing. What's a blessing to you might not be a blessing to somebody. Is it big or small? I don't know. That's a God thing. Yeah. Thank you. Might leave no sweat. I was sweating.
All right, Kalia.
Beautiful.
You debated 20 different people. This is really, really exciting, and I hope that you
is.
enjoyed it. What was that like for you to debate 4 versus 1?
Yeah. It was a little intimidating, but as soon as it started, I just felt the Holy Spirit empower me, which is so funny because I feel like that's what, all my friends and the people praying and interceding for me back home said. They were like, Kalia, like, you can stand in a pulpit, you can talk to 20 people. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's no different. It's literally no different. And so I had all the nerves coming in, but the second that people sat down to have a conversation, I was like, no, the Lord is going to have his way. And he did.
Absolutely.
So you didn't feel intimidated by that?
No, not once we started.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that anyone said that stood out to you, or something that was said that made you think twice?
Yes. Day specifically stood out to me. I thought about pulling her for the last conversation, but we had a lot more parallels and congruencies, so I wanted to push myself. But she seemed to have like a real understanding of the God of the Bible. And even when she talked about being like in a mental ward institution and how she gravitated toward the Bible, and she came home and she got rid of all of her sage and she stopped practicing Sanpauto, I think it's called. And she realized like I was using these things as a coping mechanism, not actually dealing with my soul being darkened. I thought that was just like incredible. I was not expecting a testimony from the other side, but that was really incredible to me.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you wish you would have said during the debate that you didn't say?
Trying to think about my notes. I don't think so. I feel like I covered most of the bases. I would probably touch a little bit more on manifesting, being connected to a spiritual authority or a spiritual power. So a lot of the times, and I think I would push more about what manifesting is, because they were very like on the surface about manifestation, but it doesn't take much. It doesn't even take much looking through like Reddit forums to find that a lot of people are manifesting by casting love spells and manipulating people, and they use images and they eat grapes under the table on New Year's. Like there are these very strange spiritual practices associated with manifestation that I wish we had gotten into a little bit more. I don't know if the other side would have been comfortable sharing some of that. But because I know those under surface practices do exist, I know that it's a demonic practice. I think that Satan appropriates the kingdom of light. I think he takes things that God has instituted and he perverts them. And we don't just see this with stretching in yoga or mediums and psychics. We see it, I mean, literally throughout our world. Like God has ordered the world in such a way, and people take advantage of.
Girl, talk about your own. Talk about Christianity. That Mormon church stuff is crazy. Them order people, polygamy, prophets, the sweet and that girl, they get that mess right out of the Bible. And I kind of want to do a video because yes, these are a lot of white women, right? But I see a lot of how these women are treated. It's the same thing is happening in the Black Christian church. The same thing is happening. I can't put my hand on it, but the same thing is happening to them. I feel like Black people don't got that much power to do the crazy, like, it's happening. Catholics, yeah. She said there's only two prospects: the Protestants and the Catholics. Baby, I don't know what it is with Christians and Catholics and children, like, but I guess that's demonic. That's the demonic people. And then when you think about it too, how is a newbie Christian supposed to determine if somebody is demonic? If I'm new and if I'm new, say I'm like 16 years old and I see this church from the outside, oh my God, it looks so good. Like one girl said, like I've heard this story where like her family didn't practice anything, but she had a friend who was Christian. So she started going to the church with, her friend and started believing in, Christians and Christianity. But when she got in there, oh, it was a whole different story. So how is this new young mind thinking they are getting one thing and then it turns into something else? Because that's what's happening. Because you know why? Because they told y'all not to lean on your own understanding. If you're telling me not to lean on my own understanding, you're telling me not to lean on my own understanding and just obey. That is The Mormons and the name of the documentary is Pray and Obey. Control. That I don't think y'all talk about the manipulation of Christianity and controlling of how that Bible has been put to so much demonic use that it's just like, like I can separate because I chose to, you know what I'm saying, separate. Like I don't know, like I see the good and bad in everything. And that's the relationship I have with God. Like God literally showed, like, yeah, this is how it used to be done. It might not have been good, but but He made another way. Or if something was sent out bad, He's making it good. Like if it was bad at first, He's making it good. Like I don't know. This was a good conversation. Maybe I'll do part 2 as well. I don't know. I just feel like I said, I'm not a real confrontational person. Like I don't like to tussle like that. But I love spirituality. I love talking about God. I love talking about these topics. But at the same time, I feel like, what is the point? Like we're having these conversations. I'm not trying to convert you. You ain't trying to convert me. So what are we really doing besides having conversations? Yeah, I mean, ain't nothing wrong with just having conversations, but I'm just like, at the end of the day, what's the purpose? You know, maybe you talk to me trying to convert me to get to heaven, but at the same time, I just feel like when you die, you gonna probably be recreated at some point in time. I feel like we're just all recreated. Like, do y'all even know? Like, us dying is helps this earth continue to go on and on and on. Like bugs and organisms live off dead people. If people don't die, these bugs that might help with this don't have no food to eat. Like that's how much we're all connected. And the one who created us made it like that. So, in the words of Tupac, y'all, I was given this world. I didn't make it. We're gonna hear her out, hear her last little 4 minutes, and hopefully I don't have nothing else to say. And then we're gonna head out. Hey, sorry, my screen was covering the hey, my screen was covering the thing, so I didn't even see. I don't even know what time it is. My phone went dead.
That and try to become their own gods through things like
Thank you so
manifestation,
much for
through things
joining
like
me.
yoga, through things like tarot card readings. And so as she was talking, all I could think was, yeah, it makes sense that yoga helps kids calm down because you're appropriating stretching. You're putting kids in a quiet space and they're stretching. It makes sense to me that that would chill them out. The same thing with frequencies. Yes, music is powerful. Worship is a powerful tool. But to say that there's a specific frequency that we have to tap in, then we're getting into witchcraft. Then we're getting into divination. Then we're
Nobody said there was a specific frequency you have to tap into. There's frequency 1, 2, 3. You choose. Which frequency would you like to tap into today? That's called choice. That's called free will. Y'all Christians are the only ones saying this is what you have to do. Y'all the only ones who saying it. Y'all don't have to give no choice. We give choices around here. Maybe that's the big difference. It's the choice. Christians make there's just no choice. Just no choice.
We're getting into omens. And so, yeah, that's all I could think about was like, man, Satan is just a counterfeit. All he does is provide counterfeit options to what we know to be true and what God has instituted.
So why did you choose Farron for the one-on-one debate?
Yeah, so I chose Farron because in the first round, when she came down, she was talking about how when she sits at the beach, she thanks God for the beach. And that was
I'm doing good. I hope you are too, Queen. Girl, I did my nails today. You would be so proud of me, girl. I did my nails today. I need to send you a picture. I think I still got your number in my phone too. I did my nails today. They're not the best, but I'm proud of myself. Like this is probably like my 4th set that I've done, and I'm really proud of myself. I'm at the. I don't think she's out here to work, but let me continue. Let me finish. I'm gonna have to. I think I still got her phone number.
Distinct from everybody else on her side. And I was like thinking about that throughout, like, how are you different than these people? Because most of them are not willing to concede that there's a God.
Hold on, let me see.
And that was distinct from everybody else on her side. Divide counterfeit options to what we know to be true and what God has instituted.
So why did you choose Farron for the one-on-one debate?
Yeah, so I chose Farron because in the first round, when she came down, she was talking about how when she sits at the beach, she thanks God for the beach. And that was distinct from everybody else on her side. And I was like thinking about that throughout, like, how are you different than these people? Because most of them are not willing to concede that there's a God above the beach. They think God is the water. They think God is the ocean. And so I kind of just had her on my mind the whole time. She kind of had like a bubbly, uppity personality too. So I was like, she would probably be fun to sit down and talk to. So yeah.
She definitely was sweet.
She was sweet.
Is there anyone that you didn't agree with, but you felt impressed by, maybe their knowledge or something about them?
I think I was impressed by some of the things that Ace shared. I think she was able to articulate herself well, and I was impressed by her ability to ask questions on the spot. I think that's very hard to do. So when we started talking about God's character and she's like, okay, so does God hate people? That was really engaging and cool because it's like, okay, now we can get to the nitty gritty of God's character and really get into the conversation. We didn't get to do that a ton, but I love it when people are able to kind of think on their feet and then the conversation is able to
I would love
evolve
to talk to y'all about God's character. Shout out to my girl, Black Fairy. I think it's a Black Girl Fairy, a Black Fairy. But yeah, she really gets into God's character. And I love her. I'll talk to y'all, showing y'all her videos, but like her thoughts on God's character, I would love to see them go at it because even though, I don't have the same thoughts of her as God's characters, but how she sees God's character is very real. So yeah.
That's true. Do you have any final thoughts about your experience today with these women?
It was a great experience. I'm honored. I can't believe that God has chosen me, used me to do something like this. I think that the Kingdom of Darkness got a black eye today, and God is really faithful to use us. So yeah, I'm thankful. Thank you, Michelle, for having me on too.
You did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
It's beautiful, girl. But would you die? It's easy to have conversations, but would you die for this? Like, that's what I look like to think about with them people in the Bible. Like, they believed so much they died. So do you have that much faith? I feel like, and also I feel like that was unnecessary, Hey, thank you so much for joining me. About to hop out of here. Maybe I'll do part 2. I don't know. Well, part 3 with the other girl. And we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to get out here, y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining me. I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Peace.